You seeing what's happening? Or are you watching the birdie and biting the hook? See, a lot of people dropping the ball right now, which is understandable. It really looks on lots of levels like rights are being taken away, things are being trimmed back in ways that don't look healthy. But let me remind you that you agreed to be here at this exact moment in human history to help navigate the cosmic shift. We agreed to this. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We didn't say we were going to come here and lay down when it got tough. And fighting it, I don't know that's going to help either. Kind of like lobbyists in Washington that go and fight against things. All they do is build the walls higher and break the communication down if they're not able to be open and present in the moment, if they're not able to see the deeper divine order. Funny that I don't pick off of either side anymore because I've seen the ridiculousness of the polls. That being said, the rights, human rights, reproductive rights, the rights of good, loving, caring people mean a lot to me, whether it personally affects me and who I am or not. But let's talk about seeing a little bit deeper, because I think we could use a nice big dose of love right now, even though that's already what we are. What you're looking for is what is looking. Remember that. But when I say we are the ones we've been waiting for, we are the ones that chose to come here at this exact moment in history to help navigate the cosmic shift. What do I mean by that? So this takes me back to conversations with one of my mentors back in my late teens, in the early 1990s, a guy named Wayne Dyer. You may have heard of him. I kind of make the joke that it's true actually. I wrote him a letter a day for 30 days in late 1991 before I was going to be seeing him at an event in New York. And it's funny that he picked me out of the crowd and he's like, "You're the one that's been writing me 5 letters a day for the past 6 months. I'm like, "It's 1 letter for 30 days. And he's like, "What did you want to talk about?" And I'm like, "I don't know exactly." And he said, "I'll make time. I'll put time aside for you." This is the first of dozens and dozens of meetings, whether it be on the phone or face-to-face with him. And we got really deep into a conversation afterward. It was a Hay House event. It was just Wayne and Maya Lebos, his manager, and me. And there was some security guards around. We were at the Paramount Theater, Madison Square Garden. Just the footlights were on. Everybody else was gone. And Maya's kind of like, "Come on, Wayne, come on," because he was supposed to go for a dinner with all the other speakers that day. And he's like, "What exactly was it you needed to talk to me about?" And I said, "I don't know exactly, but I see myself doing something like what you're doing, but kind of more like a spiritual rock star kind of thing, like something edgier." He's like, "It's the hair, isn't it?" And pointing at his bald head. I'm like, "No, I don't," because, my hair was pretty long, I think, at the time then too. But anyway, we started talking and he's like, we're sitting on the steps actually on the way out of the theater, a side door, out the back door. And he was like, maybe it was just this connection that we needed to make. And he started crying and I started crying. And I started talking about how I wanted so much to move up into like a higher level of functioning, evolution, so to speak, actualization. But I just couldn't quite figure some things out. It was like I was trying to get the lay of the land, but I wasn't really getting it. And he was like, "You ever been down to Wall Street like 15 minutes before 9 a.m., 8:45-ish? I'm like, "Actually, yeah." He's like, "You ever been down there a little bit after 5? I'm like, "No." He's like, "Well, what does it look like in either time? 15 minutes before 9, 15 minutes after 5. I'm like, "Well, actually, it kind of looks like chaos." And he's like, "Well, is it really chaos?" And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "Do you really think all these people are just wandering around happenstance and all these things are happening and nobody knows where they're going and nobody's got an idea of the path that they're taking? You think it's really chaos?" And I thought, I was like, "Well, I guess no, I guess it's not." Which is funny because years later, when I really started digging even more into the Greek and the Hebrew and the Aramaic that I've been digging into since I was about 14 years old when I started with those, on a big level at least. I started going, wow, chaos. So people tend to think that chaos, you know, the ancient Koine Greek word chaos somehow meant willy-nilly, or just everything's just kind of happening in 1,000 different directions and makes no sense. But that's not really what it means. It's funny too, because I hear people throwing out the word synchronicity now, and they'll say it's not coincidence. I'm like, well, actually it is coincidence. All that coincidence means is two things are happening at the same time. The word, if we use the proper English, is happenstance. It's not happenstance. It's not just some, oh, it just kind of happens, but rather there is a deeper divine order on some level. So it is coincidence, and synchronicity is very much coincidence. It's multi-incidence. I'm making a word up, I guess. But funny, though, that chaos in the ancient Greek didn't really mean just flying by the seat of the pants, happenstance, all these crazy things happening. What it actually meant was void. So now let's take ourselves back a few thousand years. We're looking up at the night sky, which people tend not to do as much anymore. I do. My dearest and closest friends and family members do. But imagine first looking up and just seeing all these lights in the sky, and it just kind of looks like, we may not think of the word chaos, but it just looks like a void. All these things, I don't necessarily see the order. But when you really spend time in the present moment, you really take care of the now, and you, what I'm saying constantly lately, pay attention. When you really pay attention, you'll begin to see the orders, you'll begin to see the repetitive patterns, the cycles. But the funny thing about that, in ancient Greek, then it's no longer chaos. It's got a different word for that. Cosmos. And the cosmos is that deeper order that I do see in the Uranos, that far greater expanse, Shemaya in the Aramaic. So when we can allow ourselves to pull back maybe a little, really pay attention in this moment, let go of biting the social media hooks or the woe is me hooks or the oh my God, we're losing ground hooks, and instead start to take responsibility for the love that you do or do not bring into the world, the caring, the wisdom, the knowing, and realize, hey, wait, I did agree to be here. I'm going to stand up, not attack. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to breathe into this present moment, and let's start figuring out together how we can work as one common community to use love, to use peace, to use presence, to use wisdom and light, to get ourselves not just through these moments, but deeper into them so that we can see the deeper order. This is why we're here. I love you all so dearly. Things are going to be fine. I would love to advise more of you to try pulling back from the excess of social media or thinking that jumping from one to another, that geographic cure. I understand why people are doing it. But what really is most important right now is that we show up fully as we are, authentically. That is what's going to bring us through, and that is what is going to allow the flower of this moment to unfold. Remember, pay attention. Stop watching the birdies so much that are the birdies that are presented to you, and let go of that urge to bite the hook. If you bite it, take it out. Take a real deep breath and come back into the moment. All of the answers are there. What are we supposed to do? What are we, maybe isn't the best thing to do? How should we respond versus react? How can we make choices versus decisions? It's all there in the moment. It's literally encoded across your heart. It's there. I love you all so dearly. You're doing a great job. Amen.